Good night, dear internet. I hope you're doing well on this beautiful night. If you aren't doing well, just remember that everything comes to an end eventually. How are you
That
doing, Christopher?
that feels so kind of dark, but I get it's supposed to be uplifting. But I say it that everything comes to an end eventually.
Yeah. Um, what?
I'm doing good, and
That
I
is
hope
great.
everybody else is doing good as well.
How has
So
your week been?
it's been uneventful. I guess that's the
Same.
best it has been. It's been uneventful. Other than that, yeah, nothing to really report here.
Okay then. So, internet, recently, the last season of anime ended,
hmm
and we just finished watching Osama Ranking,
Yes,
which
yes,
is Ranking of the Kings in English. How do you like it,
I liked
Christopher?
it.
You liked it?
It was enjoyable, somewhat. Yeah, it was enjoyable. I have a few issues with it, but other than that, it was good. It was good. I liked the story. I liked the characters. It was.
What were the issues? Let's talk about those.
Oh, we jumping straight into the issues.
Of
It's more
course.
like towards the ending
Mm-hmm.
and the resolution to the pretty much the whole
Yeah.
civil war
Yeah. Yeah.
of everything. But I guess we should start from the beginning about what this Osama ranking is actually about.
Well, well,
Yeah.
well,
Yes.
here's the thing. We know what we watched, right?
Yeah.
But is that the whole world?
No.
Right, there's a whole other world, right?
No.
They
No.
probably
No.
follow or we see a whole bunch of other kings as well.
Maybe, but I'm assuming that the story is mostly on Boji, our deaf mute. No, not mute, but
He's not
deaf
mute, he's
protagonist.
deaf.
He's
Yes, he
deaf,
can't speak. I guess that means you're mute.
but he can make noises. But our deaf protagonist, who is the king's heir
Right.
apparent, well, his firstborn son, and we follow his story, adventures, and the shenanigans going on inside the
The
kingdom, and
right.
also what led up to him himself being deaf.
Right.
So where do we even start with this one?
Um, if you guys are not familiar with Osama ranking, the whole thing is going to be filled with spoilers. I know we usually kind of have spoilers and sometimes we don't say anything, but
You're just putting it right now at the beginning.
right, if you know that you haven't read or watched something, then don't listen to us about it, okay? There will always be
There
spoilers.
will always be spoilers.
So, Boji's dad is a giant, and his mother
Yes.
was a giant as well. However, in his dad's pursuit for strength and power
Mm-hmm.
to be the best one there is in the land, really, he made a deal with a literal devil
Yeah.
or demon. Through this girl that he knew, her name was
Moranjo.
Miranjo, right? They knew each other and she knew the demon and she introduced him to the demon and he made a deal. And in doing so, he took all the power and strength from Boji,
Yes.
his son, because it had to be someone that you love, right?
Yeah.
Someone
So
close to you,
his deal was when your son is born, I will take his like entire future strength, like type of thing. Yeah.
basically.
And that is why Boji is now a very small
Right.
boy.
He doesn't have his stature that a normal giant
Mm-hmm.
would have. He doesn't have strength. He can barely wield like typical
He's
swords.
even smaller than his brother, who is half human, half giant. And he's a
Right.
normal human. He's born after him. So
Yeah.
he's incredibly tiny, essentially like diminutive towards everybody. Everybody else
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
giant
It's
to
true.
him,
It's
kind of in a way.
true.
So, and he's deaf as well. So that's even like on top of that, he has that going for him. But we see that Boji is very carefree in the
Is
world. He
that
is, yes, he's very
okay?
carefree.
How do you mean
I
carefree?
mean, even though he knows that he's very free to do what he wants.
Oh, okay. Carefree wouldn't be the
I
word
guess I'm
then.
wrong there.
He is free to do what he wants because no
Yes.
one thinks that he is
There's no
gonna be able to do
expectations for him.
anything.
Yes.
Right.
Everybody thinks that the next king will be his brother Dida, which does turn out to be happening after his father dies.
However, it was changed because his father said in his will that it would be Boji, and then they had a vote, the mother and them, the
They're
like the
like,
council. They said, what could Boji really do?
yes. So
And
they're doing it. It was less like, oh, we're gonna take over the kingdom because we want it for Dida. It was
right,
more
they just
like,
don't think that he was
yes,
competent enough.
yes, because and they don't think that it would be good for the kingdom to have the deaf small king that everybody already kind of openly mocks anyways, you know? One thing that I kind of liked about the dad, even though he stole his son's future strength, was that he wants to build a place, a kingdom, a place where his son could be have a home.
I get that, but
It
still,
was, I mean, yes, it was still like an incredibly selfish thing to do, to make a deal and steal your son that was not even born yet so that you can have strength, and actively seek out a giant woman so you can get close to her, marry her, and then have a kid so you can steal his strength. Yes, but the fact that he still is like, I'm going to try to create a place where he can live. It's still like something that's going to come a lot with these characters in the show. They weren't one dimensional.
right. Usually you'll see a character and they'll be what they're first introduced as.
Yes.
I mean, what people love to see, I think the audience likes to see character development,
Yeah.
and we like to see different sides of people. Like, everybody isn't happy all the time. Our
Yes.
people who are brooding aren't brooding all the time.
Uh-huh.
Everyone has their moments when they're going through different things, joy and happiness, sadness, mourning, whatever is
It's
happening.
just it's good to see that characters are a little bit more complex and not as
Exactly.
just
And
like one note.
that's why I felt like they felt real.
Mm,
They felt more relatable as people who have like these different feelings
yes.
as well. Things are not always so straightforward. Sometimes things get complicated, and the way that you feel and think about different things, they change over time. And we see that with the characters.
Yes.
And that was good.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. But so Boji is no longer going to be the king,
Right.
and he feels a certain way about this. And let's now talk about Kage.
Kage is from the Shadow Clan.
Yes, they're a little weird looking shadow creature
Right.
that's just rules around the ground.
They're known for assassins and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Kage is the last of his kind because they were killed
I don't know if it's
off.
just the last of his kind or just the last of the current clan that's currently there that he knows of. Because I feel they have to have
That's why I
more.
said apparently.
Yes, yes, true.
There may be in different, I guess,
Groups or something
regions
like that. Yeah.
as well. But the one that he was with was massacred.
Yep.
Um, I think that's something that the show doesn't shy away from. It shows the gruel,
It shows the gruesomeness of all
yeah, the
stuff.
gruesomeness of things.
Yeah.
I,
Even though the art style kind of would throw you for a loop when you first see it,
it
is
might,
yeah, it looks very child soft type of look. But there's like, oh, people are getting murdered right, left, and center.
yeah,
And there's blood everywhere.
yeah.
People getting stabbed and stuff like that. It's really good. That's the one thing I have to say. I really love how the two work together. It
Hmm.
looks it has this very cutesy feel.
That's it.
Kinda.
I thought that it was actually quite realistic. I like the way the art style. I
Yes, the
like
art style.
how characters, this is something that I always like in any medium. Characters don't all have like the same body structure or
Mm-mm.
facial
The
structure.
strangeness of that. I like that type
Exactly.
of
I
stuff too.
love when you see people who look clearly different. It is more, like I said, relatable,
Hmm.
right? They felt more relatable as characters in the world that I living as well.
Hmm.
Everyone doesn't look the same. We don't have the same head size. Our we don't all have this L jaw shape. You get what I'm saying,
I
right?
understand
There
what
are a
you
lot
mean.
of things that follow the pattern where you can basically just swap off people's eyebrows and their hairstyle, but it's the
Uh
same. It's the same
Overall,
structure.
I got you.
So I really enjoy seeing the art style.
Yes.
It was great for me. I even want to read the manga now.
Yeah. It's a bit behind, I think, of the anime,
The
but
manga is behind the anime.
not behind. No, it's not. It's more like I don't think it's translated at
Oh, I
all.
don't know.
So
Um,
maybe, well, hopefully, with the success of the anime, more manga stuff gets translated. So yeah, but right, where were we with the story?
Boji
Yes.
decides to go on a journey after his brother takes over
Mm-hmm.
as the ruler.
Along with
Um,
Kage.
his brother then sends for him to be murdered.
Yep. And thrown in, and he's kicked into the underworld by somebody that
That
he
he trusts
trusted.
the most. What
Uh,
was that guy's name?
was it
I don't even
Domas?
I don't even want to talk
It
about
was
him
Domas.
because
He kicked
he's a
him.
horrible
He
person.
kicked him because he was told by the king. Daida told him to go and get rid of my brother.
But you
He
know
kicked
what?
him
There
into the
was
underworld.
there was there
And
was a
this,
lot of realness in it. All I want to say, the
yeah,
feelings and emotions that they were trying to get across. Like when Daida said he had hope that Domas would have been loyal to his brother.
that's a shit thing to say, bro.
It's not a
After
shit
you
thing to
send
say.
the
No,
man
no,
to
it
kill
was
your brother.
before he gave him that decree.
Mm-hmm.
He said that to him. He said that he had hoped that they could be, what do you call it? He could be his right hand man when he got older,
Uh huh.
but that he sees the kind of person that he is. But then he says that maybe he's that way as well. And anyhow, it was just it was great to see the emotional journey of characters. Anyhow, Domas does that, and he
They think that he's dead for a while, but
right. They
Kage,
think
who
that
was sent by somebody that we originally thought was like probably
no,
a
I
bad
didn't
guy.
think anything.
Well,
You did?
Bepin is kind of introduced. He's another like he's the one person who trained
Daida.
Daida,
Right. There are
and
four. What do you call them? Four.
for like
What do you call them?
like I guess like generals of the kingdom,
Right. Right.
right?
Four generals.
And Bepin is kind of like introduced as like, oh, Daida. I know Daida's good, is best, and blah whatever. He's good. He's best to become king, right? And he's also like, I guess, the security guy because he has a whole lot of snakes on his control, and they kind of keep track of everything going on.
Right.
That's how he finds Kage sneaking around, and he's like, "Is what's this shadow person?"
Right. He's like, who you come here to assassinate because
Um,
that's what they're known for.
exactly. And later we find out that Bepin is the person who sent Kage along with Boji
Secretly.
secretly to
To
protect
protect
him
him.
and to
Yeah.
also take him to somebody down in the underworld to help train Boji.
Right.
So, but at first you don't know that, and because it's the way how the story, how story sets up. Oh, this person is this type person is this type of way. So it plays with those like assumptions you might make
Mm-hmm.
on characters. Meanwhile, you're thinking, oh, Bepin is on Team Daida and Domas is on Team Boji. Meanwhile, it's like Domas betrays Boji,
He
and
did.
Bepin is the person who's trying to actually keep him alive and
Yeah.
actually train him so that he gets help and becomes stronger in his own way. So it's like that type of stuff where you're seeing that characters just aren't just one thing. It's like, yes, Bepin thinks that the better king will be Daida, but he doesn't want Boji dead.
Exactly.
That type of stuff is like it's really fun. So Boji and Kage go to the underworld, and they're like they have to meet somebody down there to help them in the kingdom of the underworld, and they think they have to meet the king.
Right. So they say death something because Kage didn't remember who it was.
Yes.
But when the underworld king, whose name is Desha,
Uh-huh.
reads it, he realized that it's not him,
It's not
but
him.
his brother,
His brother.
Despa.
Exactly. It's like, why y'all even here? You got the wrong person. So they go to a city that's down in the underworld and they meet Despa.
Right.
Another one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Despa is apparently also he's a prince. He's Zessa's brother, and he doesn't have like superpowers or anything
Right,
like that
right,
because the brothers they're the sons of a god apparently, and Desha got powers from
right,
his father, and but Despa didn't.
right,
But he's a smart man and he
right,
knows how to bring out talent from out of people. Because there's the whole story where he apparently turned a normal man into a king. So that's why they're going to him to learn and to train. And I really like Despa. He is
same.
probably he's pretty much the person who has gives Boji strength. Shows him that look, just because you're small doesn't mean that you aren't
Right.
powerful.
He helps build his
Helps
self-confidence,
build his self
his
confidence.
self-esteem. Yeah.
Also teaches him how to take down people because apparently we see Boji's already really good at dodging
Right.
because he was trained by a snake.
Bebin snake,
Yes.
Matsu.
Matsuya? I
No.
can't remember.
Muramasa?
No, not Murabasa. Is Matsushima, I think. Matsushima, I think.
There's no Shima.
Matsu.
Muramata.
No, you're so wrong. Is Mat something? You just call the snake Matty for the.
Masamura?
Anyways, but along with teaching Boji how to like fight and give him self confidence, and just I think Despa is really because I remember at the end he says something like he didn't do much for you, Boji is always something. It's like no,
He
dude,
did everything
you
though.
pretty much
He was the one that helped the seed grow,
yes,
and he's one of those teachers that you look back on and you're like, this teacher really helped me.
yes.
I'm really grateful.
Speaking of teachers, we did an episode about good and bad teachers. Be sure to check that one out, guys.
Yes. Be sure to check it out. It's, I don't know, episode 70? Just before this one. But yeah, he's the one who, what did they call it? He's the one who helped to tap his
Potential,
potential.
yes.
Yeah, and to
So
show him that he could do and be better, you know?
exactly, exactly. And the way he teaches him pretty much to be he gives him a rapier. It's a light weapon, and he teaches Boji, I guess, like points inside of a human body where he can knock out somebody
Right.
just by
Are just
touching them.
points in anything where's
Exactly,
the weakest of
exactly.
them.
And Boji kind of becomes invincible after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then we find out
What do we find out?
that the kingdom is under attack.
Right.
Now we have to
So
shift all the way back to the story.
right. So the first part of the story is basically what we covered, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the part that we really enjoyed. The
Yes.
second core of that season, however,
Mm,
it fell really badly.
in my opinion.
In story wise,
It's still okay story wise, but it's weaker.
it is
It
weaker.
is real is much weaker.
Earlier we spoke about Miranjo.
Mm-hmm.
Before Daida was speaking to her through this mirror, he didn't know who she was. In any case, Miranjo was. I don't even really want to talk about her past. She went through some horrible things in her past,
Mm-hmm.
in large part to her mother being too kind of a person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to blame kind people, but you gotta know
When you get him fooled.
exactly. So she had hardship in her life, and she had got to know the king boss
Boss.
because he had killed her father in a fight that they had. The relationship sounds weird anyhow, but he stuck around to, he wanted to make sure that she grew up well and whatnot. In any case, there was a whole thing, bad stuff happened to her,
Mm-hmm.
and then he and her started to travel together. This was many years ago before he did his whole family and kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
But she does like this magic and whatnot stuff. She gets weaker and she's now living in a mirror because of the deal that she made with the demon.
Hmm.
And yeah, her plan is to bring back the dead king, Boss,
Yes.
and she does that through Daida.
Hmm.
So Boss comes back to life in Daida's body, and Daida's soul is like locked up inside of him. And then there's a whole underworld thing
Where
where
she
she
can,
brings
yeah,
through like
criminals.
5 or 6 underground guys. And I really thought there would be something more to that.
To me, to be quite honest, the only reason the underground guys there are even there is, I guess, for the Oaken subplot. The other brother to Despa and
That's
Desha,
what I felt as well. Because she had instigated a whole war before
and
when
killed
Boji's
Boji's
mother was
mother.
killed.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and killed her.
So I thought she would have brought through like all kinds of people from the underworld.
Or
Doesn't matter who
something.
they were, but to be in large numbers. And then she tell them, sack the town or something. Do whatever
Yes.
you want. She did tell these guys to do whatever they want, but
But
there were like 5 of them.
and multiple times they tried to just like take like beat the person she has working with her and just take her and try to sell her in the mirror is
Yeah.
it is so like boring, all those entire parts where
Yeah.
they're on screen, because they really and truly don't add much to the story. They show up in the kingdom, they fight Queen Helen and her people, and just throw out the other people who are like working there. It is so lackluster.
It is. We
Her
didn't
entire plot.
speak about healing a lot or
Let's just
Dorshu,
let's just
but
talk about Queen Healing.
Healing is my favorite character.
Yeah,
I love Healing, I love Dorshu, I love Desha, and I love Despa. Those are my favorite characters. I
yeah.
mean, Boji's cute as well and Kage as well, but
I really
those,
like Queen Healing
me
because
too.
at the beginning you see she's because Boji is being like insulted all the time, and she's kind of like mad at him, and you're thinking that she's kind of like that. Oh, she's the second queen. She doesn't care
Care,
about
right.
Boji or anything like that. But then you realize that she really fucking cares about
Yeah,
Boji when he was younger, when she was the new queen and stuff like that, and taking care as a
yeah,
kid
yeah.
and trying to learn how to do sign language so she could communicate with him, and just like trying to, even though she might seem like a hard ass at times, she it's coming from a genuine place of care.
Right, of love
Even
and care.
even the part where she's like, "Do y'all really think that we could put Boji as the king right now? Really?" It's not that she doesn't believe she doesn't believe he could be the king, but it's more like she doesn't want him to get hurt.
Hurt, right? She's doing everything she can to protect him.
Yeah, and
It's
when she
all
finds out,
motherly love.
and hell, when she finds out that he died, she lost her shit. Then when she find out that Daida was replaced by Boss, it's like, my sons, where my sons at? You
Exactly.
know. So it's
Yeah.
like I really like, even though I think her name is a little bit too much on nose, because her name is Queen Healing,
It's
and her
healing.
ability is healing.
Right. Her name is Healing and her ability is
It's
healing. Is
it's
that a
little,
problem?
it's no, but it's still, I really like her and her
Me
characterization, and
too.
just like it's like she's definitely the mom, and she's just like, I want my sons to be okay.
Yeah.
You know,
She's the best.
she is the best. She's 100% the best. And Dorsha, you see him to his whole journey and being a protector and bodyguard for Queen Healing, and his fights are always good to see. That
Yeah.
one fight when he's fighting out there is like really great.
He got his leg ripped off.
And
Not
he was
his, he
like,
lost an eye.
I
Unfortunate,
think he
but
was
I'm
like,
glad he's alive.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun. The characters really do make the show, except
That is
Miranjo.
true. Miranjo, we're gonna just skip to the end. Miranjo, then, oh my goodness,
How do we just skip
nothing
to the end?
happens to Miranjo because when Boji defeats Boss, who's possessing Daida's body. Daida comes back, and Miranjo and Boss souls kind of fly off into the distance, but then
Moranjos gets eaten by the demon.
right, and they defeat the demon and pull her back. No, they make a wish to the demon to bring her back, and then Daida proposes to her, and they're like a thing now.
He's like, I
And none of
forgive her.
her, none of her wrongdoings
It.
have been.
I guess the whole story is trying to like
Goodness,
trying to be like forgiveness, and
no,
she's
I
going
am
to be like
no, no,
try to do
no,
the best she can for the kingdom now.
no,
But I'm like,
no.
she killed Boji's mother, started a war pretty much twice in this place.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to trust the person who tried to kill your entire royalty twice. You know, like I get that she had a really shit stuff happen to her, which is like,
It's no excuse.
but exactly, it really is like
Bad
no
behavior.
excuse for crimes against people. What about those people? Don't forget, Oaken went down to town. I'm pretty sure he killed some people down there.
Yeah.
What about those normal people that just got killed because of the people that you brought out,
Exactly.
like out of the
They're
underworld
talking
prison?
about how she'll pay for her crimes by teaching the generations and the masses of what they shouldn't do. But I think that she should have gone on and forever be in hell. Honestly, no. Some people. I okay, now,
That's probably
we're
the
not
part.
one to talk about what people deserve. All of us have sinned. This is true. However, are you serious?
Like, she clearly broke a lot of laws and should
She didn't
probably
pay
be.
for any of them.
She has not paid. Like, the woman was
No,
already.
it's like the bad treatment, the harsh and terrible treatment that she endured is no excuse for her behavior later on.
Exactly.
Just because you went through bad stuff doesn't mean you go and treat people badly.
Exactly.
Yes, the world is harsh and we all have things that we hate, but no one should be out there just, be like, well, I had a tough childhood, so I'm going to kill everyone. And then nothing happens to you.
No.
You don't pay for your crimes in any way. You
I
think that's right?
Because we didn't see anything else. All we saw is Daida like, she'll pay for her crimes and I forgive you, because he saw her pass. And I remember
Okay, we saw it too.
I remember when we were watching it, Kim was like, what's that thing where you just fall in love with your kidnapper?
Stockholm syndrome.
And
Right.
And you were like,
that's what happened to him.
That's what your theory is going. I think he just empathize with her, even though it's really hard to empathize with a person who started.
I empathize as well. I empathize with the part about her being, having all this difficulty.
Yeah.
Yes, it is tough sometimes to even live. Yes, it is tough to sometimes to even like anything in the world. But you do not just go and kill people. You don't harm people because you were hurt.
Exactly.
It's not right.
Exactly. I think that is probably the part that's kind of missing from the show. At least show us like in some magical chains what y'all got she did or something. But other than the bad guy of this entire arc kind of being forgiven because forgiveness is how we move on, I guess.
Everyone was like willing to forgive her as well.
That was like really, she literally just started a coup.
It was over the top for me.
It was too much.
They were all kind of accepting.
It's like I was like, bro, really? Like that's a bit much of an ask for literally everybody here right now.
Well, except for what's his name?
Who?
The one who was holding her in the mirror. What's his name?
The other remember. 4. One of the 4. The last of the 4.
I can't remember his name. Oh gosh, the one with the spear.
The spear guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him.
Yes. The forgettable one.
He was unforgettable, but I can't remember his name. He didn't want her to die from the beginning. But still, she didn't have to die, but
She'll pay for her crimes, Kimberly, by helping the kingdom this time and not trying to destroy it. You know, third time's the charm. You know.
uh-huh. Moving on.
Moving
The
on.
music was really good.
Yes.
I not so much like the first opening, but all the others, the second opening and
The
both the
ending
first
song.
and second ending were great.
Yes.
I absolutely love what was it, Oz by Yama. I love the one that Vondi did and the one by Millet, Flare. I don't remember the first one, I'm not sorry, but those three were just great.
The
And
second opening goes so hard. It's great.
yeah. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
There's a part in I love the opening visuals. There's a
Yes.
part where they're riding the horses
Hmm.
for the second opening. That's my
The colors.
favorite
Yeah, yeah, I know
part.
what you're
Oh
talking about.
my goodness, the way it's like in slow motion and the art is kind of like it looks like a painting, but
Hmm.
it's like moving. Oh my gosh, it was
Okay.
amazing. I loved it. I loved it. It was really good.
It was fun. And the one thing that I think I'm looking forward to with the show going forward is probably more to do with what the ranking actually is, the ranking of
Hmm.
kings. Because we learn bits and pieces throughout the show
We
that
learned that they're
there are
gods.
gods. And humanity kind of rose up against gods in different places. And some
Hmm.
people, like the whole little story that we learn about Despa and Desta, the whole little story,
Despa,
Despa
Desha, and
and
the brother
Orkin. It's such a
Okin.
weird like change. But they're a son of a god and they rose up against their dad because he was pretty much a shit person. And they eventually killed him. So gods in this are in this world and they are killable. And apparently the whole flashback story from Miranda also dealt with the gods fighting and people betraying another city to go to the god's side and that type of stuff.
Hmm.
So we don't know. I was speculating that the ranking is a way for the gods to control the kings because at the very early we heard something about how the person who wins the ranking of kings gets to choose a treasure,
Right.
but they all choose the same treasure and they all go mad.
Is that what it said?
Yes, because you
Well,
remember the Mad King that you met that Boji
right.
met
That
when they were traveling to
was
the underworld.
King Bo's dad. And we
Yes,
thought King Bo was dead, but he was alive in the end. And he like took Okin out of the sealed rock. And then he like why do you do that?
I don't
We
know.
just got this guy dealt with for even a little bit.
And Orkin is like super immortal too.
So annoying.
It is. But I kind of want to see more about because now at the end of the series, Desha is being led as he's the number one king,
Right.
and the rankers are like, you can choose a treasure, and he and his brother have been trying for so long to find a way to fix Oaken, who is
Right.
super immortal and just crazy out of his brain. And they want to try and find a way. So maybe one of the treasures will help him. So now we're gonna see what is in there, and maybe
Well, we may not see what's actually in there.
I think he might go mad, or I think that's what they're leading up. Remember at the end, you pointed it out. There was a light, of the candlelight next to his throne,
And it
and then it
went out.
went out, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Is
You know
that
those things?
foreshadowing?"
It is. If they show it, it
Yeah,
is.
it is. So yeah, I think that the ranking is how the gods or whoever is wrong still keeps control of the kings or humanity in a way. I don't know.
Hmm.
Speculating. I don't read the manga, so I don't know. But I'm looking forward to see what type of stuff like that's going on, because at the end of the show, Boji is given back the
Title of
kingship of being
king.
king, but and Kage leaves as some weird
Yeah, Kage leaves
epilogue.
being all like super dramatic, saying that Boji doesn't leave him any. I mean, he
Doesn't
doesn't
need him
need him
anymore. I was
anymore.
like, bro,
Stop being so dramatic.
Queen
Y'all
Healing,
guys are friends.
Queen
Come
Healing
on.
saw you, and when she looked at you, she realized that you were Boji's son. What are you doing running away? He
Yeah.
was the thing that was there for him when even the chips were down, and he just disappears. So Queen Healing is like, you can choose to go. You can do whatever you want. You don't need to be here. And so Boji leaves, finds Kage, and
And
his
they
whole
go off
intention,
on a journey, I
yeah,
think.
because no, he wants to make his own kingdom.
Right, but they go off on a journey.
Exactly, they go off on a journey. So I think the show probably will work better with Boji and Kage just adventuring around, and maybe we have little bits and pieces back at back at their kingdom.
I'd
And
like to see other
me
kings.
too. I
Other,
would.
the states of other
I think that's why
kingdoms.
the adventure is going to happen. They're probably
Right.
going to like go to different kingdoms and see different kings and see different issues and stuff and different people and cultures and stuff like that. So the first part of Osama ranking is like an introductory and just like give us our main character's story.
Hmm.
So I'm looking forward to see where it goes. To be quite honest,
Overall score?
hmm, about an 8 out of 10. I know you're probably going to give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay, so I was debating whether it's a 7 or 8.
I don't disagree that the second half kind of is lacking in a way, but it's not
It's
enough.
not a compelling
It is
story
not
towards
the arc, the
the
end, the
second
arc is,
part.
yeah.
Um,
The introduction of all of the shenanigans. I expected a bit more than it to just be what it
yeah, I'm gonna
was.
have to give it a 7.
I'm gonna give it an 8 because the show itself is good. The characters are great. Queen Hiling is best girl,
That's right. She
or
is.
best mom. Like, I love this character.
Yeah.
She's great. The way how she cares about other people is great. It's like, I love this lady. But yeah, so 8 out of 10 for me, 7 out of 10 for you.
Yeah.
So if you guys are like looking to give it a watch, if you've stuck all this way through and didn't like go before the beginning,
Why would they want to watch it now after hearing
because
everything about it?
we've given a very weird overview and we have left out some stuff too. So I think you should give it a watch. It is fun. It's very fun in my opinion. I'm really glad that I got a chance to watch this. I kind of really like that. At first I was like, oh, he's just deaf and whatnot. And I kind of like that people actually were learning. There was sign language and stuff like that.
Right.
And those in charge weren't like mocking of that. Oh, he's deaf and whatnot. They're all surprised when they find that he could read lips,
They
though.
were.
But I kind of like that people were like, yes, we need to have a way to communicate. And
Instead of, you'll see something like that, but they'll shun the person.
yeah. So I was like, I'm glad that, because normally it's like, oh, he has a problem with him and he's part of royalty. Forget about him. Just have another son. That's pretty much kind of how it seemed that Daida was born, so as to have a king that wasn't disabled or anything like that. But people still went out their way to like know how to communicate with him and him communicate back and forth, because it wasn't like, it's not like it wasn't hatred for Boji, I think.
That's
Except
what made
when Daida
Thomas's
thing
betrayal
so harsh. And
heartbreaking.
Daida and his girlfriend need to go into some part of prison, like for real.
Why does Daida need to go?
He tried to kill Boji
Right.
with Thomas.
He did.
But forgiveness, Kimberly.
It's not.
Forgiveness.
Internet. You know how they say forgive and forget?
No. Forgive, maybe.
Some of us can try to forgive, but we should never forget. And it's not like that saying is, a staple. It's not, you don't have to follow it. I definitely don't. There are people who I don't think I'd ever come to forgive in my life.
You know
They
what
were
they say,
just
right?
so horrible people.
They say God forgives, but I don't.
Exactly. Let God forgive. He's the omniscient, omnipresent, whatever. He can do whatever he wants. And I can too. Free will, right? Exactly. Anyhow, guys. That was it for our review of Ousama ranking.
Yes.
If you guys liked it, you should definitely subscribe and like and comment and share, because we're just amazing. How
Are we
can you
though?
not like us? Spread us on the internet.
I hope you guys enjoyed. Go and give us Summer Ranking a watch, and see you guys in the next one.
Good night, everyone.